Let's start with a fact that might just rearrange your brain a little, especially if you grew up thinking the guardian angels were pure, unfiltered urban heroes. You might want to sit down for this, because the truth is stranger than fiction, and maybe a little uncomfortable. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa, once admitted to faking some of their early heroic exploits. That's right, he didn't just bend the truth, he practically did origami with it. He confessed to staging subway rescues, orchestrating dramatic scenes that never actually happened, all to grab headlines and make the group look like unstoppable crime fighters. Sliwa even went so far as to fake his own kidnapping, a move that sounds more like a movie plot than real life, just to get media attention for his fledgling group and make sure the cameras kept rolling. It's like finding out Batman started by hiring someone to play the Joker and then saving the day for the evening news. The line between hero and showman gets blurry fast. This isn't just a quirky footnote, it's a foundational crack in the myth of the urban vigilante. It makes you wonder how much of what we believe about our heroes is real and how much is just clever storytelling. If the origin story is part fiction, what does that mean for everything that came after? Can a group built on half-truths still do real good, or does the myth always overshadow the reality? The Guardian Angels exist in a gray area between civic duty and public nuisance, genuine heroism and street theater. They're both a symbol of hope and a reminder that things aren't always what they seem. Their story is a tangled web of good intentions, questionable methods, and a desperate need for public approval. Every action they take is scrutinized, debated, and sometimes misunderstood. So, as we dive into the world of these red-berated crusaders, keep that initial, slightly bonkers fact in your back pocket. It's the lens through which everything else starts to make sense. Or maybe makes things even more confusing. Are they genuine saviors or masters of PR who sometimes stop a mugging? Are they the real deal or just really good at looking the part? The answer is complicated, and that's where our story begins. So buckle up, because the truth about the Red Berets is anything but simple. Who are the Guardian Angels? You may have seen them before. Groups of people in striking red berets and jackets patrolling city streets and subways. But what's their story? And why do they stand out so boldly in the urban landscape? They're a volunteer, unarmed citizen patrol group, made up of everyday people who want to make a difference in their communities. Their mission is simple but powerful: act as a visual deterrent to crime and make communities safer, especially on public transit where people often feel most vulnerable. Their iconic red beret and jacket aren't just for show. They're a deliberate strategy to stand out and send a clear message. Someone's watching, and we care about what happens here. The core philosophy is that ordinary people shouldn't have to wait for police to feel safe. Anyone can step up and take responsibility for their neighborhood. They supplement, not replace, law enforcement, serving as the eyes and ears on the street. Members train in self-defense, conflict resolution, and basic first aid, learning how to de-escalate tense situations and help those in need. And if needed, they're prepared to perform a citizen's arrest, always prioritizing safety and legality. Prospective angels go through a careful screening process to ensure they're up for the challenge and share the group's values. Then comes months of training, covering both physical skills and legal boundaries, so every member knows exactly what they can and cannot do. The goal is a disciplined, knowledgeable force that intervenes when necessary, without ever becoming part of the problem themselves. At its heart, the mission is about presence, reclaiming public spaces through visibility, solidarity, and a sense of shared responsibility. When a group of angels boards a late-night train, they're sending a message. This space belongs to everyone, and no one should feel alone or afraid. Whether you see this as civic duty, community empowerment, or overzealous cosplay, is the question that's followed them since day one. But one thing's for sure, the Guardian Angels have changed the conversation about who gets to keep our cities safe. To truly understand the rise of the Guardian Angels, you have to travel back to the late 1970 SS in New York City, a city teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, where crime was rampant and public services were being slashed to the bone. The city's future felt uncertain, and fear was a constant companion for many residents. The subways in particular had become notorious, seen as dangerous, graffiti-covered, and almost lawless after dark. For many, riding the train meant taking a risk, and stories of muggings and violence were all too common. Police were overwhelmed, stretched thin by the sheer volume of crime, and many New Yorkers felt abandoned by the very institutions meant to protect them. The sense of helplessness was palpable, and trust in the system was at an all-time low. Enter Curtis Sliwa, a young McDonald's night manager in the Bronx, who was fed up with the constant fear and unchecked crime that plagued his neighborhood. He saw firsthand how ordinary people suffered, and he decided something had to change. In 1979, Sliwa gathered 13 friends, ordinary young men from the neighborhood, to form what they called the Magnificent 13 Subway Safety Patrol. Their goal was simple: to make the subways safer for everyone. Their mission was to ride the dangerous 4 train and simply be a presence, deterring crime just by showing up and offering a sense of security to frightened passengers. Unarmed and untrained, they relied on bravado, determination, and a deep frustration with the status quo. They had no official support, but they had each other and a shared sense of purpose. At first, nobody took them seriously. Police and city officials condemned them as vigilantes, and many doubted they could make a difference. Some even saw them as a threat to public order. But Sliwa, a natural showman, rebranded the group as the Guardian Angels, designed their now iconic red berets, and courted the media to spread their message. He understood the power of image and publicity. The group grew rapidly, fueled by media attention and a desperate public eager for hope. Soon, the Guardian Angels became a familiar sight on the city's trains and streets. The Guardian Angels became a symbol of grassroots empowerment, born from the gritty reality of a Bronx McDonald's and the belief that if the system won't protect you, you have to protect yourselves. Their story is a testament to the power of ordinary people to stand up and make a difference, even in the darkest of times. The Guardian Angels are not the police, and that distinction is the source of most controversy. Police are armed, state-sanctioned, and bound by strict rules and accountability. The Angels are private citizens, unarmed, and empowered only by their convictions and community tolerance. Their legal authority is no greater than yours or mine. A citizen's arrest is risky and can easily cross into illegality. Police are reactive, responding to calls after crimes occur. The Angels aim to be proactive, deterring crime by being visible in high-risk areas. They patrol on foot as part of the community, not as an occupying force. Supporters see them as approachable neighbors. Critics see them as unpredictable liabilities. The lack of formal authority is both their appeal and their vulnerability. Who holds them accountable? Unlike police, the Angels are largely self-policing. This creates tension with law enforcement, who often view them as wildcards. They're allies of convenience at best, rogue vigilantes at worst. To understand the Guardian Angels, look at their real-world actions. In 2023, as NYC transit crime spiked, the Angels ramped up patrols. In one case, they intervened when a man threatened a passenger, forming a barrier and de-escalating until the aggressor left. No violence, no arrests, just a potentially dangerous situation diffused. In Chicago, their Safe Passage program patrols school routes in high-crime neighborhoods, giving kids the confidence to walk to school. Sometimes interventions are physical, like subduing a mugger in LA until police arrived. But most of their work is quiet, helping tourists, providing first aid, or walking someone home at night. These small acts rarely make headlines, but they're the backbone of the Angels' mission. It's about rebuilding trust and mutual responsibility in public spaces. The dramatic takedowns get attention, but the everyday moments define their value. In these quiet acts, the true purpose of the Guardian Angels is found. They're not just about stopping crime, they're about restoring a sense of community, and that's what keeps them relevant. For many, the Guardian Angels are heroes, especially in the communities they patrol. Their presence is reassuring when police feel absent or disconnected. Supporters see them as a tangible solution, not just talk. Many Angels are locals, which builds trust and solidarity. When an Angel says they understand your block's problems, it's because they live there too. Countless stories of their interventions, helping commuters, tourists, or just being there, create a ripple effect of goodwill. Their direct, positive impact is the foundation of their public support. They represent the idea that public safety is a shared duty, not just a government job. The Angels inspire others to get involved, proving ordinary people can make their communities safer. But for every fan, there's a critic who sees the Angels as dangerous vigilantes. Law enforcement often views them as unpredictable and untrained, complicating already tense situations. Civil liberties advocates worry about accountability. If an Angel oversteps, what's the recourse? The lack of oversight creates potential for abuse. where good intentions can turn into harassment or violence. The vigilante label is hard to shake. Critics argue they risk undermining the rule of law. Their founders' history of fabrications taints the organization for some, suggesting a culture where image trumps truth. To skeptics, the Angels are more street theater than public safety. Are they there to protect the public or just to be seen protecting it? The question lingers. So why should you care about the Guardian Angels? Their story is a mirror, reflecting the anxieties, failures, and hopes of our cities. When people trust their safety to unarmed volunteers, it signals a breakdown in the social contract. The Angels force us to ask, what does public safety really mean? Is it just police, or is it a sense of community? Their model is built on the idea that safety is a collective responsibility. They're a case study in grassroots activism and media savvy, showing how a small group can spark a global movement. Curtis Sliwa understood the power of a simple image and a compelling message. Their story is about power, fear, community, uniforms, and the media. Whether you see them as heroes or vigilantes, their presence proves that when people feel powerless, they'll find a way to take power back. And that's a story that will always matter. The world is complicated, and so are the Guardian Angels. They're not perfect saviors or cartoon villains, just a flawed solution to a flawed system. Their story reminds us that the conversation about safety and community is never over. Thinking about them forces us to question what we expect from our communities, our government, and ourselves. Sometimes the most interesting stories happen on a late-night train, when ordinary people in red berets decide to stand up. It's a story worth knowing and a conversation worth having. That's our show. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, hit subscribe. We'll be back next week with another story that deserves a closer look. Until then, stay safe, and maybe look out for your neighbor, out for your